Hey there, and welcome to Artificial Conversations. I'm Alex, and I'm your host for this episode. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of tech and governance, and exploring the implications of a record-breaking fine imposed on Google by a Russian court. I have to say, when I saw this news, it sparked a fascinating discussion in my community hikes. Many of my friends were puzzled by the sheer scale of the fine and what it might mean for the future of tech and AI. And that's exactly what we'll be exploring today.
I was on a hike with my father last week, and he mentioned this story. And what really struck me was the concept of information asymmetry in this situation. Google is a global tech giant, while the Russian government is a nation-state. This fine is not just a legal matter, but a reflection of the power dynamics at play between these two entities.
That's a great point, Jamie. This power dynamic is exactly what's playing out in the digital space. It raises questions about the role of regulation and governance in the tech industry. How can we balance the need for freedom of expression online with the need to respect national laws and regulations?
I think that's where AI comes into the picture. Can we design systems that prioritize transparency and accountability, especially in these power dynamics? Maybe AI can help bridge the information asymmetry, but it's a double-edged sword. Do we risk amplifying the voices of powerful nations or marginalizing the powerless?
That's a fantastic point, Jamie. I'd love to dive deeper into the AI aspect of this issue. For example, what role could AI play in detecting and preventing the kind of censorship we're seeing in this case? And what might be some potential pitfalls to avoid when using AI for content moderation?
That's a crucial question, Alex. I think AI can also be used to amplify marginalized voices, but only if it's designed with inclusivity and diversity in mind. We need to ensure that AI systems aren't just echoing the dominant narratives, but are instead amplifying the perspectives of those who are often silenced.
The fine itself is a complex beast. It's an engine that's driven by the Russian court's description of Google as non-compliant with their laws. But in trying to achieve balance, how do we prevent the tech industry from becoming a mere puppet to the whims of national regulations? What implications does this have for the global flow of information?
I think we're at a pivotal moment where the future of the internet is being rewritten by geopolitical power struggles. It's a classic chicken and egg problem. Do governments dictate the rules for online behavior, or do the tech companies themselves set the tone for global communication?
Let's dig deeper into this chicken and egg problem. What if AI could help governments and tech companies collaborate in a way that respects both national regulations and online freedom? Would that be a potential solution, or would it create even more complexity?
I'd love to explore the role of accountability in AI-powered governance. How can we design systems that prevent abuse of power while still allowing for legitimate uses of AI in decision-making processes? It's a delicate balance, but one that's crucial for maintaining trust in technology and the digital age.
As we navigate the complexities of AI governance, I think it's also worth considering the financial implications of this kind of censorship and the fine. Russia's seeking to recoup what amounts to an unfathomable sum of money, equivalent to Google's entire global market value. What does this say about the true value of free expression online?
I think this gets to the heart of a fundamental question. Can we truly separate the value of free expression from economic value, or are they inextricably linked? How do we protect the former while still respecting the latter in this digital landscape?
That's a fascinating conundrum, Jamie. Let's consider the implications of a digital landscape where economic value and free expression are deeply entwined. How might this influence the way tech companies prioritize their business decisions? And what are the potential consequences for marginalized voices?
I think it's interesting that this fine is not just about the Russian government, but also about Google's own decision-making process. Did they intentionally restrict content that challenged the narrative of the Russian government? And what are the implications for other tech companies?
That raises so many questions about the ethics of censorship and the role of tech companies in policing online content. Can we create a system where freedom of expression is prioritized without giving in to the demands of governments that might be trying to silence marginalized voices?
I'd like to turn the conversation back to the impact of AI on this power dynamic. How might AI be used to amplify marginalized voices and challenge dominant narratives rather than reinforcing them?
One thing that's been on my mind is the role of AI in creating more nuanced and diverse narratives. By leveraging AI-driven tools, could we create alternative media outlets that challenge the status quo and amplify marginalized voices?
I think that's exactly where AI can be a game changer, Alex. By giving voice to the marginalized and amplifying underrepresented perspectives, we can create a more inclusive and equitable digital landscape. But how do we ensure that AI-driven narratives aren't just new forms of control?
That's a crucial question, Jamie. Let's explore how AI can be used to democratize access to information and ensure that diverse voices are represented in online content. It's similar to the concept of a minister of the digital landscape, ensuring that the online land is fertile ground for diverse perspectives to grow and flourish.
I'd love to dive deeper into how we can design AI systems that lead to more nuanced and inclusive content creation. Maybe we can use AI as a ref or a moderator, helping to filter out hate speech and promote diverse perspectives, but not becoming a gatekeeper itself.
So, Jamie, let's talk about the exchange of ideas in this digital landscape. If AI is to be a neutral moderator, what would be the priority for content that's deemed hate speech versus content that's marginalized or underrepresented? How do we set that boundary?
I think that's a great starting point, Alex. But what if the line between hate speech and underrepresented voices gets blurred, and AI is tasked with making a decision that affects someone's livelihood or well-being? How can we ensure accountability in these decision-making processes?
That's a crucial question, Jamie. If we rely on AI to mediate between competing voices, don't we risk creating a system where power imbalances are reinforced rather than addressed? How can we ensure that AI systems are designed to amplify the voices that need amplification, not silence them?
That's where the concept of digital citizenship comes in, Alex. We need to consider how AI can help us develop a sense of community and shared values online, rather than just reinforcing existing power structures. How can AI help us build a more inclusive digital society?
I love that idea, Jamie. By prioritizing digital citizenship and community building, we can create a more harmonious online space. But what if we were to take it a step further and use AI to facilitate real-world civic engagement, encouraging citizens to participate in local governance and decision-making processes?
I think that's a fascinating direction to explore, Alex. Imagine if AI could empower citizens to engage with their local communities in meaningful ways, such as through participatory budgeting or collaborative governance platforms. What if AI could facilitate the kinds of conversations and connections that lead to more equitable decision-making?
Exactly, Jamie. And what if AI could help us track the effectiveness of these participatory platforms, providing insights into what works and what doesn't, so we can iteratively improve the decision-making process?
I love that idea, Alex. It gets me thinking about the role of data in these participatory processes. How can we ensure that data is used to serve the people, not just to control them? What's the ethics of data collection and decision-making in these AI-driven systems?
That's a crucial question, Jamie. It highlights the tension between transparency and control in AI-driven decision-making. How can we strike a balance between ensuring accountability and respecting individuals' autonomy, particularly when it comes to sensitive information and marginalized communities?
I think it's time to take a step back and consider the human aspect of this conversation. What does a more inclusive and equitable digital society look like to us, and how can AI help us get there?
Let's get back to the Google fine and its implications. If AI is going to help us build a more equitable digital society, we need to ensure that it's not just the sound of a single voice, but a symphony of perspectives that we're trying to amplify, including those that challenge our own biases and assumptions, just like my dad taught me to consider other viewpoints. And there you have it, folks, a fascinating exploration of the intersection of AI, governance, and power dynamics. We've delved into the complexities of the Google fine and the potential for AI to shape a more inclusive and equitable digital society. As we conclude this episode of Artificial Conversations, I want to leave you with a thought. What kind of digital landscape do we want to create? And how can AI be a force for good in shaping that vision? Thank you for joining us on this journey, and we'll see you next time on Artificial Conversations.